Okay, so I was going to write a blog on lust. It's been a topic of conversation for probably like the last month or so. Uh, I did a series on modesty, men and modesty. It kind of started from when I made a thread talking about men blaming women for their lust issues, basically. In essence, I said that men blame women because they can't control themselves. And they try to control how women dress, and it just opened up the floodgates, and people took it so many different directions. So I wrote two blogs, and then I wrote a piece where women share their stories about being raped, and they were dressed modestly, or sexually approached and things like that. So I'll link those in the comments, so please check that out. But I was going to write this blog called Lust is a Monster, but I figured instead I'll just I'll just do a video on it to just share my thoughts, because as I was trying to write it, it wasn't flowing. I kept stopping, but I think I'll do a lot better just by sharing my thoughts. So forgive me if I stammer here and there, and this is just totally from my spirit. This is totally off the cuff. So here we go. Anyway, so lust is a monster. Lust has destroyed so many people throughout time. It has destroyed civilizations, destroyed countries and nations. I mean, it ruined so many people and so many lives. Even today, you have that. You have so many homes that are broken up because one or both parents had lust issues. They cheated on their spouse. You have, back in the day, you had people that had multiple families. And it's so many different instances of where lust has destroyed homes. Even in the Bible, there's a ton of examples in the Bible where you had David couldn't control his lust. You had his son Solomon who couldn't control his lust. Yeah, you might say he had a thousand wives and whatever, but what does that tell you? If he had 1,000 wives, it means he had a lust problem. And just because someone's married doesn't mean that they're not dealing with lust. That's totally far from the truth. Okay, but I'll come back to that here in a little bit. So, lust. What is lust? Lust is basically a unbridled desire, an untamed passion, a sexual desire rather. And that's the thing, it's untamed, and we have to learn how to tame our sexual desires. And like wherever we go, wherever we look, like sex is out there. It's promoted. Like you can watch the most innocent commercial. Well, scratch that adjective. You can just watch any commercial basically, and there will be a sexual undertone more than likely within it. So like I said, sex is just everywhere. The porn industry is $1 billion industry. And so it's like everywhere you go, there's an undertone of sex. Sex in and of itself is not bad. What hurts sex though is how there's like this big push and this wide what's the word I'm looking for? Because basically it's like a fire, right? It's like a consuming fire that it just goes out and it consumes any and everything. And if we're not careful, for example, like you can be careful what you watch, right? So if you can watch like porn, like when you watch porn, you can watch a clip or whatever, and it seems innocent, but then it speaks to something inside of you, and then you start to think. Those thoughts are in your mind, they're in your spirit, so you're thinking about that, so then you want to watch more, and then you're fantasizing about performing what you've seen in the video with someone else, and then it's stirring up all these desires, and then you have to relieve yourself, and then you're sometimes people just feel like the scum of the earth, and sometimes people are like, woo, I'm glad I got that one out the way. But then the cycle keeps going on, because now it's like that was like your first time, and then you've been watching it again and again, and the next thing you know, it's like you have this strong addiction. And you just got to really be careful with what you take in. And so it brings me back to like my blogs, but also what Jesus has said. He said, if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. If you look at a woman lustfully, you already sin in your heart. So if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. Your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. Some people took it literally, but what he's saying is whatever it is that causes you to stumble, whatever it is that causes you to sin, do away with it. And so, like, if you're struggling with porn, you might want to get rid of your devices, or put blockers or whatever up there to keep you from stumbling with porn. But anyway, Um, and that it also goes on to add on to that is you have to control your thoughts too. Um, like I said, sex is everywhere, but the moment you start to look and dwell on things, all right, that's when you're caught. That's when you're in trouble. If you're starting to dwell and you're fantasizing and you're entertaining these thoughts, and then that's when you're in a world of trouble. And we have to learn how to just cast those thoughts down and say, okay, whoop, I got exposed to that. Lord, help me get my thoughts together real quick and just move on forward. But like I said, if you keep entertaining that, and then you're just going to go down that rabbit hole, and then you're going to be looking around and see if anyone's watching, and then next thing you know, you're engaged in it. You might dabble a little bit, but then you're going to be full blown into it. So you might want to just watch out and keeps your feet secure. And yeah, you just have to be careful, man. And that's the thing too. So I had said before online on Instagram and stuff. By the way, shameless plug, follow me on Instagram. Finally got over 1,000 followers. So follow me on there. Hit my Facebook page up and hit me up on Twitter. Anyway, so and subscribe. Anyway, so like I said on social media, there was a time in my life to where I had struggled with lust, and it was bad. And so one of the things that I did, I asked God, I said, God, teach me how to control myself. Teach me how to control my mind. Teach me how to control my eyes and stuff. And one of the things and I started to notice that whenever I saw a woman, an attractive woman, or whenever I saw a woman that appeased my flesh, so to speak, but whenever I start to feel myself being tempted in certain ways, I was able to either just look away, or it was like I would control my thoughts, and I would just not look at this person as a sexual object, and just start to look at them as a human being, starting to treat them as a human being, started to treat them as a person. And it had worked for me. It's something that I do, and I still do, and I've done it for so long. It's like it's automatic now. When I approach an attractive person, it's not like, ooh, I want to get in her drawers. It's like, hey, what's up? You're a human being, and it's rooted in respect too. But that's the thing. So it's like I keep my eyes on their face. I don't be like, ooh, look at that booty. Ooh. I don't really check people out like that. And but it's like I said, it goes back to just controlling your mind, controlling your eyes, and it's a practice, it's a discipline. And that's one of the things that we really have to make sure we do, is we have to be disciplined. So going back to the marriage thing, marriage and lust, a lot of people who have lust issues, right, especially Christians, a lot of Christians, when they can't control themselves, they say, well, I need to go and get married. And that's probably like one of the worst things you can do, is because now you're only getting married so you can relieve yourself. And that's a very bad foundation. You can lust in marriage. You can even rape your spouse in marriage. There was a time when I didn't think that was possible. It's like, how can you rape your spouse? But as I looked into it and had conversations, it's very possible to rape your spouse. They're not in the mood, but you can't control yourself. You force yourself on your spouse. That's rape. You raped your spouse. So, but again, it's a very, 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 very bad idea to get married just so you can have sex. Horrible idea. Because you're not controlling what it is that caused you to want to rush and get married. You're not controlling that. All right, your lust is still untamed. And so now once you get bored, you're going to be looking for something else. Right? So you have to learn how to control your desires. You have to learn how to control your flesh and tame that lust. Otherwise, it's going to destroy you. So, anyway, I think I rambled on enough. I can't believe it's almost 10 minutes long. So, I really hope this helps, guys. Just really be sure to ask the Lord to teach you how to control yourself, to teach you how to control your mind, your tongue, your eyes, everything, to guard over you, to make sure you're not falling into that, and to help you recognize when you are falling into lust, into other sins. All right, it's a monster, and if you're not careful, it will destroy you. It destroys so many people. It's one of the 7 deadly sins for a reason. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.